And a very warm welcome to a wonderful, fresh new week of well-being opportunities. I'm so glad you could join me on this incredibly fresh day. Excuse me, it's only a few degrees below zero, but it is absolutely delightful. Spring is definitely on the way. And I also want to thank you, not just for joining me, but for some of the suggestions that you very helpfully make about subjects you'd like to discuss. You do come up with some great comments and observations. Can't thank you enough for that. But some of you have been asking me whether there's an instant shortcut switch that you can use to turn down the stress, to help you to deal more effectively with those inevitable challenges we all seem to face, sometimes at work, quite often, well, in our relationships, because let's be honest, none of us are perfect, and sometimes relationships can cause an enormous amount of pressure. Our close relationships tend to expose the issues within our own personalities that are perhaps most in need of attention. But let's get back to the question. Is there something you can do which can help you to turn off the stress? Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about the importance of changing your posture because your body always reflects how you feel. Most people seem to be strangely acclimatized to sitting in a hunched and bunched position in front of their computer screens and shoulders forward, almost if we're trying to bury ourselves into the smallest possible posture. These are all positions which indicate stress, which reinforce anxiety. It's how we're wired as a species. If you do the opposite, opening and releasing the chest, opening up the shoulders, release the tension, the jaw, breathe more deeply, that really does help. You have switches, if you like, within your own brain that respond to these postural changes, and they will change your blood chemistry. They will lower your stress and anxiety. But if you find yourself in a particularly difficult situation, you think, how do I lower the stress? How do I free myself from the bonds of anxiety which seem to be so limiting? I feel so restricted. You have to laugh. What? Yeah, I know. It sounds completely counterintuitive. But when you learn to laugh, even when, may I say this, even when the laughter is forced, when it doesn't really come from your heart, the effect on your mind is quite extraordinary. When we laugh, we somehow tell the brain that whatever we're looking at, whatever we're facing, is not as difficult or serious as we might have imagined. Laughter has a wonderful ability to turn down the stress and to break the tension. It is odd. I'm not suggesting you just burst out laughing every time you've got a problem. But when you start to smile, even if you can risk a light chuckle, this will instantly turn down the stress. Apparently, it's one of those evolutionary artifacts we can thank our distant ancestors for, because when faced with danger, with a life-threatening situation, the last thing we were likely to do is to laugh. But once the danger had passed, assuming we've survived, it seems that a laugh was a natural way to indicate to ourselves and everybody else, we survived, danger's past, let's go back to normal functioning. And that trigger is still within our minds, it's within our bodies. And that's why laughing is such a powerful, potent antidote. It's largely overlooked. We're afraid that people won't take us seriously. We tend to associate adult behavior with being very serious, very stressed. But this is not the most effective, not the most productive way for us to use our abilities. Laughter helps us to stimulate our creative impulses. We can unleash our creativity and find much, much better ways to address our problems, to find new ways of dealing with our challenges. And we live in a world which absolutely needs that from each and every one of us. But from a purely personal point of view, if it helps you to improve your health, your well-being, if it helps you to feel more balanced and empowered, laughter is one of the shortcuts you can use anytime to help you to achieve a much clearer perspective of yourself and what's going on around you. Try it and see. It can become quite addictive. Now, I want to thank you once again for joining me, but also for the extraordinary comments that you've shared with me. I really do appreciate it. It's a real privilege to have such intelligent people join me on these little videos. I have quite a busy day ahead of me, so with your permission, I'm going to leave you in peace. But also, I'd like to wish you a wonderful week, and I look forward to being back for you quite soon.